Hey, everybody. We're back again, episode 2 of Men Cry in the Car. And today, I am bringing on none other but my spoiled brother. Okay. Y'all know how, like, the middle child always got to be so spoiled, but I'm bringing that brother on today. We are talking about Mr. PhD himself, Joshua Allah. But what I'm going to do, though, is say that this young man has been, how should I say, near and dear to my heart. I met him about how many years ago? About, I think, 3 or 4 years ago. And he and Kay brought me into the family, and I became their sister at that moment. So I am bringing another brother from another mother to the stage. Give it up for my spoiled brother. Hey, there he is.
Hey,
Boom.
what's going on? How y'all doing today? How you doing, sis? Yeah, you became family instantly with us, because me and Kay honestly needed you in our life. That was
Okay.
something that was like made that happen. Just what I'm saying, because it pertains to the topic of today.
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize abused children grow up and either they become abusers or they become very damaged people. And growing up as an abused child, as we spoke about before, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times people don't understand what we go through.
No, that's
Um,
right.
I had a conversation this weekend about being fragile mentally and emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah. And so let me just say thank you for just jumping right on in, because that's what this space is all about. So of course, Men Cry in the Car. I'm not sure I shared this with you, but I will share with the audience again. The reason why this platform started, is because I kept, first of all, I kept talking about it. Like, hey, I need to do something for men. Men are always saying, like, what about us? And then when my husband lost his brother, he was just like, well, this is how I feel, and I know I'm the only safe place that he has. And I was like, I wonder how many other men don't feel like they have a safe space or place for them to share their feelings. And so he and I began to talk about it. And he mentioned, he said, so you got a podcast? And I was like, well, I do now. So I'm so thankful that we had that conversation. And just for the fact that you are here with me, thank you so much. I know that you bring light to this space and this place, because I know you don't mind talking about it. So thank you for just jumping right in. And so let me
look at
just say,
look.
well, hey,
I just can't,
hey,
I just can't be great. You know what I'm
spoiled
saying?
brother.
He was on that last week. I just can't be great today. I can't be
Look,
great.
you can be, and look, you can talk about being a spoiled brother too. So let's just let's just talk about that. Like, how important do you think it is for men to just share their feelings and their emotions?
I think that finding the right person that you can share with is very important because um, outside of like you or Kay, I don't talk to a lot of people. So, and being having to keep things bottled up, bottled up, and then when it comes out, it's like an explosion.
Mhm, mhm,
And I always say to people, you don't realize what you've done to me. You don't realize what you're doing to me because I always say, please don't do that. Don't talk to me like
mhm.
that. Don't do me like that. And people will acknowledge it at that moment,
Yeah,
but
they will.
right back to doing what they were doing. You know what I mean? And but I think that it's necessary to be able to express yourself,
Mhm.
express your feelings, because it can be dangerous mentally and emotionally for a person who's going through whatever they're going
Mhm.
through.
Well,
But
let's not even say person. Let's talk about men in general. Let's talk
yeah,
about you.
yeah, in
Because
general,
again, this space, now that we know it's important for all of us to talk.
mhm,
But of course, we've had this conversation, how we were grown up or raised how little boys were supposed to be quiet and not cry and do all this stuff and not show emotion because you being a punk, you being this, you being that. And so you said just Kay and I. And so that's a very limited space. So let me answer this question. If you had a space or if you felt comfortable sharing your feelings, like what would be some of those things that would come up? What would you actually say that you feel like you need to say, or you wouldn't be judged, or wouldn't someone would not like misunderstand you? Like, what are those things you would say if you felt comfortable doing that?
You know, growing up, of course, what I'm saying, witnessing the domestic violence and with being a part of the abuse, I would discuss that. And also too the abandonment issues that what I'm saying that I've I've, I've had, and being homeless with my mom and my brother, because of those those situations or what have you, being put in adult situations when I wanted to just be a kid. You know, that's that's something that we don't understand. Like whether you talk to your child or not, they're witnessing. They're witnessing everything that goes on. They're seeing it, they're hearing it. No matter how much you go in the bathroom and cry and nothing else, they're witnessing everything. And when you are in a situation like growing up, like I was, the hardest thing in the world was to take notes to other people's families so me and my brother can eat, or see if we can stay the night. You know what I mean? Because we didn't have no heat, or you know, just the water wasn't. Then we didn't have water. You know what I mean? It was just one of those things, and it's it's definitely those are some of the things I would talk about.
Hmm. Just hearing that neglect or the lack of taking care of your child in the way that you needed to be taken care of for whatever reason, you're your parents or whatever, not talking about them, but knowing that you were in that space, how do you think that impacted the way you show up, like your emotions and your thoughts? Like, how do you think that situation right there um impacted you or affected you?
Those who are close to me, I'm protective of those. I'm very protective of those. At that point, moment in time, like I don't care about nothing else but their well-being. You're not going to disrespect my brother. You're not going to disrespect my sister. I don't care what goes on. And I even noticed, like, my weight, my actual weight fluctuates, right? Because of, what I'm saying, of course, what I'm saying, some illnesses or whatever, but mostly because depression. Mostly because of depression and growing up not having that. Even when I'm full now or was full, and if I still have food on my plate, I still eat because mentally, what I'm saying, I still remember not having.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
mm, mm. I want to talk. Okay, were you
Yeah.
finished?
No, I'm
I want
finished.
to
I'm
just
sorry.
like, okay. So two things about that. My dad went through the same thing. Like he grew up not having enough. So when he became an adult, he was a hoarder. Like he would buy groceries and just like buy all this stuff. We were like, Daddy, we don't need all that. He was like, Yes, we do. You just never know when you're gonna. I was just like, oh. And until that was explained to me, I never understood that. And the same thing with my husband. He grew up with 8 other siblings because his mom had 9 children. And so he grew up not having enough food, and he tells me different stories about that, and I'll let him talk about that because he'll come on too. But it also made me think about the time when he didn't have enough food. And so one day when we were still dating or whatever, we had went to this place and he was just like eating his food really fast. And I
Hmm.
was like, why are you eating your food so fast? And he was like, oh. And I could tell that struck a nerve because he got a little bit emotional. He was like, well, I grew up not having enough food. And I was just like, oh my God. So
Yeah.
thank you for bringing that up because, again, a lot of people do emotionally eat simply because of, like you said, maybe a lack of when they were growing up, or they eat their feelings, or those things. And wow, yeah. I just feel like I want you to talk more about that, because I know you're not the only one. I know my dad is not the only one. I know my husband is not the only one. So talk a little bit more about that, eating your feelings or just not having enough.
Well, being in a situation with not having enough food, or being in a situation where you feel like you begging. You know what I mean? That's the major thing. And so when I eat, like I remember the first time I ever went to a buffet. I remember the first time I've ever went to a buffet and saw all that food. And I was able to, you know what I'm saying, pay for it myself or what have you. I sat there eating like gluttony. Like it was like when I left, I was so drained and tired that it was like just couldn't hardly put it in words. And I remember having a conversation with my mom, and she was like, "You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You know what I mean? We're in a better position, or what have you, because people don't know that that's a defense mechanism that we all go through when it comes down to depression. You find some, especially if you don't have anybody to talk to. You don't
Right.
have anybody to talk to. You're going to gravitate to food, and I did that. You know, um, even with alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Drinking, eating. You know what I mean? These were some of like the defense mechanism. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not like you feel better afterwards. You feel worse. But when you don't have that outlet or somebody that you trust enough to talk to them and say, "Yo, this is what's going on," or "What's going on," and these are some of your outlets.
Yeah.
Your outlets. And food is not a great outlet because of, you know what I mean, not only the weight and the health, you know what I'm saying, issues that come along with it. It's just the meat itself is not good for you. Then now the fruits and vegetables are starting not to be good. So your body's breaking down.
Yeah.
And when you get in, in your 50s, 40s, and 50s, your metabolism slows down.
Mm-hmm.
You're just trying to figure out why, you know what I'm saying, you're gaining so much weight, or you don't have the, the drive to do anything physical that often, or all these things. And then the weight just piled on.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, at last year around this time, no, year and a half ago, I was like 375. You know what I mean? Today I'm 270, coming down. But I had to understand different things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let me see. So Kay said, we find other ways of so-called coping mechanism to hide or run from our pain sometimes. Absolutely. And especially for men, it is so very hard for you to express yourself and to share your feelings, or even tell those around you your thoughts, because again, you don't want to seem weak. Now, if I'm using words that you don't use,
No, sis.
please
No,
put
sis.
those words in. And so,
The comment the old gray mare used in there. Look at the comment and see what the old gray mare just said.
oh, it said most of that way. Oh God.
See what I'm saying? See?
Okay, look, Kay bringing humor to it, and that's another thing. So glad you did that. How is it? Okay, and I'm gonna go back to my thought I had too, but that's one thing I noticed that men will do: use humor instead of talk about a situation, a serious situation. Even though I know Kay's just
Yeah,
joking, but I know that that's one thing that
that
is
men go.
common. Yeah, it's a comment. It's like, oh, I'm gonna make you laugh. I'm gonna make you whatever, just not to deal with my feelings, my thoughts, my emotions.
Right.
And so, yeah, segue. That's exactly what happens with that.
And it's funny
He,
because
he said, "LOL, I love you." So anyway, he said that because he loves you.
yeah, I know.
Um,
Uh, but next time he put that cocoa bean, that gravy going on his bed, it's on and pop.
First of all, Dr. Madness.
But no,
Dr.
sis,
Madness.
like seriously, a lot of people be like, "Yo, you really silly. You really this. You really this," and people don't know that most men is like tears of a clown. You
Mm-hmm.
smiling on the
Exactly.
inside and you crying on on the
Mm-hmm.
inside. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I find more peace being in a room by myself
Really?
to interact with others. Like
Because by yourself, you don't have to pretend. Is that why? Like,
I don't
what
have to.
makes you feel
I
so?
don't
Okay.
have to put up a wall. Like I don't have to protect myself at that point because trust is a big issue. Trust
Mm-hmm.
is a major issue because you
Mm-hmm.
and like Kay will tell you like a lot of times Kay is if we out Kay is walking around everybody. I'm sitting back like this and I'm looking. I'm not walking around in the crowd or what have you. I'm in my
Mm-hmm.
spot in the comfort zone, and then I have to go in the crowd and get him to bring him back. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but even when I'm at home, I'm actually in the room, whether anybody's here or not. Yes, he said I'm introverted. I'm actually, whether anybody's here or not, my room
Mm-hmm.
door is closed and I'm in the room.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because in that point, at that point, I'm safe. I'm safe mentally. I'm safe emotionally. I'm safe. And
Yeah.
I don't have to be guarded because people don't understand like when you grow up and you going through certain stuff and people have hurt you over the
Mm-hmm.
years, it's hard. I mean, like it's really hard. And I remember there used to be times like me and when I was living with my mom, be 3, 4 days we wouldn't even see each other. We would know we're in the house, but we wouldn't see each other. We wouldn't interact.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? She'd be done cooked or whatever the case may be. I go to the bathroom, go get something to eat, be back in the room, or I hit the street. We wouldn't see each other for like 3, 4 days. And then when we do see each other, we'd be like shocked, like, how you been? You know what I mean? That conversation, and then we go back into that solitude. But I think that the most part is, like you said from the very beginning, trusting somebody enough to be able to open up and express what is actually going on. That's the hardest part because a lot of times when you tell people what done happened or what's going on with you, they utilize it against you. They utilize and for whatever reason, people are real mean like that. Like they look for something to hold against you instead of really
I
trying.
think, okay, let me interrupt you. I think the reason why that happens a lot of times is because when we go back to people not knowing what to do with the emotions, people not knowing to keep it safe, to keep that dear, to keep that like whatever the secret, whatever the message that they were just told, to keep that between you and that person. So it's like, oh, I don't know what to do with this. So it's just best that I just share that and not knowing that was a very sensitive subject or something that needs to be, just like loyalty, and they just don't know what to do with it. But when you were talking, it made me think about like how many men that are in my life that don't know how to say, I'm hurting, um, I'm sad, I'm grieving, something that women say, but men usually don't say? Like, how hard or how difficult is it for you to tell someone, I need some help, I'm hurting, I don't know what to do? Like, how hard for you is to be vulnerable? I guess that's my question. Like, how difficult is that for you?
I don't, when I feel like I can trust you, then I can open up to you. Um, if I don't, then you're going to get surface. Um, I remember a conversation that we've had when you had came on the show, and I was able to relate to that. It was a subject of saying how we use like using physical interactions with the opposite sex as a defense mechanism.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Over the years, growing up, teenager, 20s, 30s, 40s, what have you, I did that. I honestly did that. And never, the hardest part is never knowing what real love is. That is a major thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not understanding that somebody can honestly love you because you know all of your ugly. You walk around with all of your ugly and the pain,
Mm-hmm.
sorrow, and the stuff that you done been through. Being poor, being whatever, being abused, being all these different things. You know that story. And a lot of times be afraid to share that because the person you think loves you is not going to love you. That's the hurtful thing. Or when you open up to a person and
Mm-hmm.
say to them, these things, and they start looking at you different. And you can feel the distance between yourself and them.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that a man will give from the very beginning is a persona until he get comfortable. Right? When he gives you that persona, you fall in love with that persona. And at that point, when it's time or when he feel like it's safe enough to open up and be himself, oh, you brand new.
Mm-hmm.
This, this ain't you. This ain't this. This ain't that. This is what I've been dealing with. There's not too many men, young black men or black men, period, who are not fragile mentally. Whether,
Exactly.
whether it's seeing death, financial, illiterate, hunger, poor, whatever the case may be, growing up in what I would like to always say the suburban ghetto,
Mm-hmm.
seeing drugs, seeing all these things. But that wasn't in my house. But what was in my house was alcoholism. What was in
Mm-hmm.
my house was physical abuse. What was in my house was womanizing. What was in my house, what I'm saying, was lack of direction and food and
Mm-hmm.
that nature. That was in my house.
Mm-hmm.
So it took like literally, it took me going away at 16 to prison, at 16 years old, coming home from prison, my mother sending me to Mississippi for me to honestly see a male role model. What a quote unquote functioning or close to a functioning husband and wife union.
Mm. Wow.
That took it took that. And the funniest thing in the world is, and I know I'm fragile mentally because I'm comfortable in the jail cell. Not comfortable in the jail, but I'm comfortable in the cell because that's my space. Nobody's gonna come in here and mess with me in my space.
Now, I think you said a whole lot of everything, but you said something when you said that. how many men are actually comfortable in the state of being in a cell or in a jail or just being protected? I don't know. Do you feel protected? Is that what it is? Like, how many men have that around their hearts? Have that around their minds. Like, no, I can't let anybody in, and I'm not gonna let anybody. I'm not gonna be able to go out. This is my protection, like because I can't let anybody to see this.
Well, dysfunction for Black men is what we used to for the most part, right? So when you're in that room, or you're in your room, or you're in a cell, or wherever you at,
Mm-hmm.
is where peace is. That is where peace is. Like right now, no, I can be in the room, no TV, no phone, no radio, no nothing, 2, 3 days, and I'm content. It's just me and my thoughts. It's me and my thoughts. Because at that point, I'm trying to become better for myself and make sure, like, mentally, I'm stable enough to allow you in. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm
I
stable enough
do.
mentally to allow you to come in. You know what I'm saying? And trusting you enough to say, well, this individual is not going to judge me, or this individual is not going to use what they see against
Going back to that trust, right?
me.
I
Yep.
want to read. I want to read Kay's comment. There's a lot of men out there this day who hurt inside and won't speak up upon because of the macho man syndrome. That's the thing. Everybody has to be so tough. Everybody has to be so hard. And just like what you were saying, when you can trust somebody, then that's when you will let them in. Now, I'm not saying people are not hurt, but we're of course this space is for men.
Mhm.
There's a lot of men that have been hurt, and I'm pretty sure you think, since you have been hurt in the past multiple times, whatever, that you think whomever comes to your path, they will also hurt you. But you got to learn that that's not true. That's not true. And I would just use myself as an example. I find myself being a safe place for a lot of men.
Mhm.
And that kind of makes me sad because I'm like, I'm the one that's you feel safe with. I mean, I'm grateful, don't get me wrong. I'm glad that you and my husband and other men have seen me as a space to um, discuss things, process things, this is just talk it out, because I know y'all know this is a place where you won't be judged. But I also think about these men that are in my life and those that will still come on the podcast, how there's no trust and you don't have a space where you can talk, when you don't have a space where you don't feel heard or supported. That's so sad to me. And I guess what I'm asking is, like, what do you think is the solution to that? What do you think the solution is for men to find that space and be to have exactly that community that they need?
To be honest about it, that's a hard answer outside of, what I'm saying, certain brotherhoods, and you know and we're not talking like fraternal organizations or anything, like
No.
just brotherhood, that fellowship with someone that accepts you for you, right? The biggest problem that I have in life is people love Josh and Mel Law, Mr. PhD.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? But they don't love me, if that makes sense. They love
Absolutely.
they love the whole stigma of this, that, and the third. Josh and Mel Law, da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? They real to real 360. They love all of that. But you take away those layers and
Mm-hmm.
you open up the core to them and show
Mm-hmm.
them who you are as an individual, not the surface stuff, not any of that other thing. Then at that point is when you understand you need a different circle of people. And it's crazy. I've had the same best friend since I was 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to this very day. He's my cousin now, all, but since we were 5 years old, we've been together. No matter where we are in the world, whatever's going on, we're right there.
Yeah.
K being my brother, I can tell K stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I could tell you stuff. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's very few people that you can sit there and say, how can we help this? You know what I mean? Like, is there programs? Is there this? Even
Yeah.
even if we go to programs, don't mean that he's going to speak. Most individuals wait until either they're forced to say something or do something, or they get to the point where they're comfortable. But by the time they get comfortable, it's almost over.
Yeah. Yes. And where is the help? What help, I'm gonna ask you, what help do you need? What help do you think men need so they can feel supported? Like, what is the help? And I know you may be like, well, I don't know, but in your mind, as me asking you this question right now, what is that you need?
Accept me for me. Accept me for me. You know what I mean? That's really what it is. Accept me for me. Not because it's Josh Mel, not because of anything else or any other pretenses. Accept me for me.
Yeah.
Um, that's why I write. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know, you know what I mean, that is a support mechanism because I have a notebook full of stories. And I've been writing stories since I was a kid, you know, or writing poems. I started writing poetry because that's how I wanted my mother to be treated. I
Mhm.
started writing stories because of my life was so hectic that I couldn't verbalize it.
Yeah.
And I was fighting, like fighting. And you've never, it's just this, you've never seen a person fight with their eyes closed.
Mm.
I fight with my eyes closed, always have, because I don't want to see the pain you're finna receive, and I don't want to see the pain I'm finna receive. So the whole time my eyes is closed. I don't know what happened till it's over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I've always been that about my heart, my emotions, being protective about me than anything else. Like it's when I tell you it's hard, it's hard. You know what I mean? It's hard. Losing my twin at 14. You know what I mean? And matter of fact, losing him 3 days after my first child was born. Like I got a daughter. I'm happy. 14, don't know nothing about being a father, but I know I
Yeah.
got a child. Then my brother dies 3 days later. So now that's an emotional roller coaster. At that,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I know my mother loves me, but she's shutting down because she's grieving.
Yeah.
Then I get incarcerated. I got two sons. I get incarcerated. I got two children. I got a daughter and a son.
Mm-hmm.
My son while I'm in prison,
Mm-hmm.
only a few months old. I'm not even 17 yet.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of stuff that goes on. Losing my best friend, like one of my best friends died in my arms. You watch a person die. Everything was always like death, 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 death. Or, you know what I'm saying? Poor, 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 like struggle,
Yeah.
struggle. And people talk about the struggle like it's a badge of honor, and it's not. It's not. Because it's not a struggle financially, it's a struggle mentally.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's a struggle mentally. I was in New York this weekend, and I'm looking around like, dang, this is how we used to live. Like seriously, this is how we used to live because I see something different. I'm living a different lifestyle. I'm in a different,
Mhm.
even though mentally I'm still fragile, but
Yeah.
I'm out of that environment. And that's something that we as men have to understand as well. The support that we need is for individuals to take away the layers, that surface stuff, and really take time to get to know who we are as individuals.
Mhm.
And what makes us sad? What makes us happy? What, you know what I'm saying? Because majority of men who have families will sacrifice themselves every day in some way, shape, form, or fashion, and holding on to a thread of mental stability, just
Mhm.
right there on that real cusp of saying, I'm about to lose it.
Yeah.
And being taken for granted. Like, you know, mentally, I'm sacrificing more than just money. You know what I'm saying? Because when you love somebody or you with somebody
Mhm.
or whatever the case may be, you sacrifice every day. But you don't know how much he really don't have. It's not financial, mental stability, like emotionally, how much he really don't have to give. And he's
Mhm.
giving you all he has. That is something that people need to understand. It's not as easy as people think. It's hard to sit up here and say, you know what I mean, I'm okay. We always say we okay because we
Yeah.
don't say anything else. Who cares? That's just like when you meet somebody like, how you doing? But they say, man, you know, my gout. You don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care. And we know that. We
Mhm.
know we know they don't care. Why do men sit there and drink themselves into a stupor when they come home? Why, when they come home from work or whatever, they want a beer, they want a cigarette, they want a shot of liquor, they want to roll themselves a blunt joint, whatever the case may be, to run away from reality.
To run away. Yeah.
These, you know, what I mean, the self medication and all that other stuff is really hurtful. And when I say it's really hurtful to love someone and they don't love you or they don't know how to love you, that's hurtful.
Mm.
That's hurtful because they tell you all the time, I love you," but your actions show me different. Your actions
Yeah.
show me different. So that's hurtful. So to go back to your question, accept me for me. I'm not perfect. I'm nowhere near it. I make mistakes. I've learned how to navigate in life. I was a single dad, raised my kids by myself.
Mhm.
And my son always tell me that I taught him how to survive. And as a man, that's all we know is surviving. Is surviving.
That's
Why
it.
can't and my thing is why can't we know anything else other than that? Whether you making moves, you finagling this, or you haggling this, or whatever the case may be, you're surviving. You're surviving. And I want to do more than just survive. I want to live.
Yes. Yep.
You know what I mean? Live. And people don't understand there's a difference. There's a difference in surviving and living. I want to live.
Yeah. They don't.
I mean, so my whole life I've been surviving.
Mhm.
I mean, my whole life I've been surviving. Um, I get motivated. A person tell me I can't do something, piss me off, or anything of that nature, and then you'll see me. I won't sleep. They'll tell you I won't sleep. I'll be up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, shooting emails out. Go to sleep
Yeah.
at 6. Be right back up at 7, making
But
phone
that's
calls.
going back to that survival mode that you talked about.
That's the
Just not
survival.
knowing, just not knowing that you can actually be show yourself compassion, be kind to yourself, like really love on yourself, not really understanding it. And I want to say for those that are on and those that will be watching a replay, the reason why I did not interrupt you
Hmm.
is because at that moment I felt like you needed to be heard. You were just flowing and flowing. And I just felt like you needed to say that and get that off your chest because again, that's what this space is for.
Hmm.
Just say how you feel, without any pretending, none of that. And I know, like I said before, that this is a safe space, but just being able to just speak, knowing other men are going to hear you say that is beautiful. And that's why I was like, don't interrupt him at all because we don't know who needed to hear that, but I know somebody needed to hear that for sure. I saw what did Kay say? I'm glad he's brave enough to come forward on this show, sis. Oh, thank you. This is great for him. And I also thank you so much. And I appreciate y'all for coming on as well. Yeah. Thank you for being
I'm gonna get it. Sis, I'm
thank
going.
you. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for being transparent. Thank you for even sharing that because I don't know if you share that with other people. And I see you, I accept you, and I want you to know that there are people that do care about you. Um, and I support you. But and Kay supports you. What else did he say? He told me the time. Oh, he fell over and scraped his knee. He see, here we go back to the humor. Back to the humor. Back to the humor. But yeah.
You
What
know,
else do you think? What Go ahead before I ask you this question.
I think that's the reason why I'm the spoiled brother.
He said we do care for the spoiled brat. See, you were thinking the same thing. We do care for you. We do care for that. Look, that middle child is always there. That's what I told Kate. I said, is there something about that middle child? That middle child always got to be seen. It's always got to be seen.
And,
But yeah.
and
So what do you think?
I get jealous.
You do? I know that's the thing. That's because you don't talk about your emotions. But what do you think? What is the not the last thing? Because I definitely want you and Kay to come back on again. But right now, what would you want the men to know? What do you think men right now need to hear from you, or hear another man say?
I shouldn't have read that. But I think that most all men need to know that they're valued, that everything that they do is not in vain, that somebody cares. Somebody, I think that's something that is missing from a lot of men. Like we go through every day, day to day, day to day, day to day, and not knowing whether or not people appreciate the effort that you put in, not knowing that you're valued or your feelings are even considered in the equation. We talk about loving ourselves, understanding what self-care actually looks like, what it actually means. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to disconnect and recharge and come back. There's nothing wrong with that part. But just accept you first. Accept all your flaws. Accept all the things you done been through. Learn how to heal from them. Learn how to grow from them because what you've been through has made you into the man you are today. So at some point in time, you have to embrace those things. And that's major. You know what I mean? We grow like I have a bunch of like siblings by my dad, and I only had one sibling with my dad and mom. Right? When he gone, I'm alone by myself now. Like I'm by myself. Whether we got along every day or not, I knew he was there. He knew I was there. Now I have to accept the fact that I'm walking this journey by myself, or I don't have my mom. I don't have certain things that people have. So it's like it's hurtful. But I have to accept me. I have to accept all the stuff I've been through, all the stuff I've done, all the stuff I will do, everything. I have to accept me because I can't expect you to accept me for me if I don't accept me for me. I have to take the veil off my eyes about me. I have to look into the mirror and say, you messed up or you did a good job or whatever the case may be. I have to be my number one supporter. I have to be because at the end of the day, if nobody else support me, nobody else is happy for me, nobody's cheering for me, I have to cheer. I have to keep pushing
Yeah.
because the very minute I stop cheering for me, I stop supporting me, I stop pushing me, there's no telling where I push that. I push that. I push that. So every morning I get up, I have a goal set for myself that I want to accomplish today.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of my mental health thing. I push myself to get that goal done. Once I get that done, I feel good about me because I did that. Whether it's big, small, whatever the case may be, I did that. I did it for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. When I see my kids and my grands and knowing the knowing where I came from and to see them be successful today, I'm proud. Like my son mom abandoned him when he was 2 weeks old on my step. I've had him since he was 2 weeks old. My son is 31. He's never had a relationship with his mother. When he talks about mom, he talks about my mother. He talks
Mm-hmm.
about my mom. So I always tell him, me being in the streets and doing the things that I was doing, people are gonna always try to count you out. But I'm not gonna let them count you out. But what I'm gonna give you is I'm gonna teach you how to navigate through. Use the naysayers as motivation. As
Yeah.
and
It's
that's
important that you get to teach your son how to live versus survive.
first survive. And that was something that hit me when he said, "Pop, you taught me how to survive. I can go into anything and be okay." And then when he hit me with that, I was sad
Mm-hmm.
because even as parents, we're trying to prepare our children for a world that we don't even know exists, right? Because the world that we know is not going to be the same world that they. But I want to do more than teach you how to survive. I want you to
Yeah.
enjoy. I want you to enjoy experiences. I want you to have fond memories of your life
Mm-hmm.
and take time and have moments. That's that to me helps me mentally.
Yeah.
We laugh and joke. Like I laugh and joke with my kids and go through whatever we go through because they're adults now. But we laugh and joke. We can have those moments. We can share those moments.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about anything else. It's just that. So if a man needs to know something, he needs to know that his children love him. His children love him. The things he's done to ensure their safety, their well-being. You know what I'm saying? Was you know what I'm saying? He did a great job. Even with having like not having that much money, because it's not about the money. With kids, it's about the time. It's
Mm-hmm.
about conversations. It's about those things. That helps men, whether people know that or not, to have a relationship with their children. That helps
It does.
them. It helps them. If you don't have a relationship with your child, that's damaging. That's really damaging. So
Yeah.
that's what it is. I know for me. Look at it. So I'll put some work.
I'm glad. Oh, stop being mean, Kay. Um, look, Anyway, I don't know why I read that either. But yes, so I always want to have us laughing. Well, thank you. We appreciate that too. But this is so good because we need to have these type of conversations all the time. Men need to know that they can actually say what's on their mind without being judged, knowing someone is listening, knowing someone hears them. So I challenge you and all the men that come on and those that will watch replay to find that place that you feel most safe outside of yourself. Because you know how to do that. Like you said, you mentioned all the places that we know how to escape in different ways, all that. But I'm talking about finding that person, finding those people, finding that space where you can just literally open your mouth and share exactly how you feeling, whatever that is, whatever your deepest darkest secret is, like whatever that is, so you can just get that out of you, because that's very important. Because I tell you, I'll tell you, like I tell some of the women that I talk to, I said the biggest thing for a lot of people is to receive support and definitely to ask for it. But the greatest things are asking and then receiving, because you will experience somebody like me one day that will come and support you and don't want nothing else from you.
You
I
know,
don't want anything from you. And I want people to understand that there are others out there like me, and definitely men. Like when I show up for you, when I show up for men, when I show up for my clients, I am there showing up for that person, not to receive anything. I'm there because I know you need support.
sis, what made me and Kay fall in love with you as our sister is your interaction with the children and how you overcame situations
Hmm.
and how you took it upon yourself to reach back to help others that have been through that.
Hmm.
And a lot of people would never know that you've been through anything or that your children, you know what I'm saying, you sit there with your children and how they
Hmm.
interact from your oldest to your youngest, you would never know because they're so happy in that peace. That is something that I strive for myself is to be happy at peace.
Well, let me say this. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really believe the way we got there was being open, sharing our feelings, because all three of us, you, me, and Kay, we all grew up in that era where you didn't share feelings, you didn't do any of that. We let our children talk to us. We let them ask us questions and things like that. Um, especially, well, all of them, but especially my son. I talk to him. I say it's okay that you cry. It's okay that this happened. It's like I tell him, like I don't want. He's 6. I don't want him thinking he can't show any emotion, because then he turns out to be an adult feeling like he can't. But that's what it is. That's what you see in our family. We're open. We say hard things. We say things that are hurtful, not in a hurtful tone, but we tell each other the truth. And by us telling each other the truth, we're able to love on each other more, because we all are very vulnerable, every last one of us. And so we don't have to just like figure out what's going on. Like we honestly feel comfortable enough going to each person in the household saying, "Hey, you hurt my feelings. This is what happened. I didn't like that. This is like that." So if you love that about the family, then I challenge you to be that way as well, because that's how we got there. That's exactly how we got there. And I feel like a lot of men will get there as well once you open up that space of, you know what? I don't want to hide anymore. I don't want to keep this in anymore. I really want to be able to just say what I mean what I say, without feeling, even thinking about someone's going to judge me, someone's going to think whatever. Like that is the space I want men to be in. I know it's going to take a while. I know not only this podcast, but other things that we have to do to support men. We have to do that. And I'm here for it. I'm just saying, I will do my part. I need you to do your part. I need men to
I've
like
been
step up.
begging you to do
I'm
this. I've
here
been
for it.
begging you to do this. I've been begging you to do
I know.
this. I've been
And I'm
begging.
here now. I'm here. So I appreciate, I really appreciate the fact you like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So now it's here, and so now, that's what we're gonna do. Like, I am going to be here every week, unless we do something different, supporting the men, whatever needs to be said, whatever we need to talk about. Because again, a lot of men just feel alone, and I don't want y'all to feel like that no more, you know. So that's where we are. So, but before we leave, I want the people to know where they can find you, because they need to know about Real to Real 360. So tell them about that, and let them know where they can follow you.
Okay. Well, Real to Real 360 is myself and my brother KY, right? We started out in July 20, 2020, right around the pandemic. You can find us on all social media platforms, YouTube, Twitter, which is now X, TikTok, especially TikTok after dark, you know what I mean? Because that's when my brother, he DJs. You can find us on Facebook on Joshua Bashan, or you can find, my brother, we're gonna be streaming, KY's Law on Facebook. So at any given time, you can catch us on PSO 82.3, GC Radio, Third Coast TV. You can, if you just type in Real to Real 360, everything should pop up. And I want to thank you, sis, for having this platform and giving me the opportunity to release, because I needed it. Trust me, I needed it. You know what I mean?
You're very welcome. And
And
like you tell me, you're
Father's
home now. So whenever you want to come back, you just let me know.
Hold on, sis. Father's Day is coming up next week.
Mhm.
I just sent KY a Father's Day gift off Amazon. It's gray be gone. It should be able to take all that white off your chin. You hear me?
Stop it.
It's called Gray Be Gone.
You stop it. You stop it. You are too much. He said we are also going to add this show to air. Oh, yay!
Yes.
That is going to be good. Awesome. Yay. Because put it all across the airways. Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. We
Yes.
need all the guests. We need all the guests to come on. Those men that need to be here will be here. And I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I love you. You know that.
Kiss my niece and nephew. I need me
I
some
did.
pickles. I need some pickles.
I need you to go ahead and let us know what kind, because they are, they'll ship them out for sure. So you will see how I stopped messing with him. Yeah, there. Okay.
We started with
go. Look, here we go again. He said, I need to get one more in before they end the show. Yes. Well, thank you so much again for coming on. I really appreciate you. I love you. And I will talk to you on the flip side. See y'all later. Bye.
Peace.